What's up, Raiders? Bionic here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. You've probably heard the news already, I get it, but I'm still going to talk about this upcoming 10 chance event, or these two upcoming 10 chance event. More importantly though, we're also going to talk about the upcoming Fragment Collector Fusion event, whatever it's called now. Unfortunately, it's not a traditional fusion event, which is a little bit upsetting, I think. I'm gonna put it that way. I was really hoping that we could go back to the typical fusions, because as most of you guys, you know, I'm stocking a lot of the champions needed for those fusions. So now what's the point of keeping all these extra champions in the vault if we're never going to get other fusion events? Okay, but anyway, we're still going to cover what I'm going to say, like important tips, probably like 5 major tips for you guys to get prepared for this fusion. Some of this will be pretty straightforward, but still, I think reminding you guys that you can still prepare ahead of time for even the fragment collectors will hopefully help you guys do this for, let's just say, the least amount of spent resources. Okay, because yeah, it is using your resources. It's the same as the fusion events. The only difference is that you do not have saved up champions that you can start to use to do this, but you can still put those guys to good use, and I'll show you guys in a second. All right, so here was the post that was given to us on the Discord server. Actually, you know what, let me make this here a little bit bigger for you guys so that hopefully you can read this. So the new legendary champion will be a support type spirit from the Ogren tribes. I'm really hoping, I don't know about you guys, that this guy is going to synergize with Gerptuk. That would be pretty amazing, or at least be really efficient for the faction wars. And we also have, what's his name here, the Grush, whatever, this guy, okay, coming in 2 days. So if anything, this is going to give me something to work with for the faction wars. And let's face it, the big prize is now Lydia the Death Siren, which I really want to get as quickly as possible. Okay, so back to this little post right here. Then we're going to have 2 different types of 10 chance event, and we're going to break these champions down real quick with my tier list. I'm not overly excited about this 10 chance event, the one starting tomorrow and the one on Sunday. Some of these champions here are pretty good. They're game changers. You guys might want to go for these champions, but for me, where I'm at in the game, there's really not much for me to be gained from this. However, because of the fragment collector, I'm still gonna summon, right? I probably won't have a choice if I want to start accumulating those fragments. Therefore, I might get some of these champions. We'll see. Okay, so let's get going. Let's break it down here with the Excel spreadsheet. I think I have this ready to go. Here we go. Okay, so these are all the champions that are going to be in there. Royal Guard being probably one of the most sought after champions for this event, or for this chance event, because of the enemy max HP AoE, right? Really good for dungeons, really good for faction wars. You don't really see him in clan boss or in the arena still. Netheril, great champion overall. His AI is still pretty dumb on the clan boss, which makes him not an ideal poisoner. But he does hit pretty hard. Problem with him is that he's a little bit slow right off the bat, but he does have some pretty nice crowd control in there. We have some stun, turn meter decrease, 30% decrease speed as well. Crypt King Grail, we don't see much of him. I really don't see him anywhere, to be honest. Blind Seer recently got a buff. We do have like the block debuffs and shield AoE, and this got switched around, so she does block debuffs first, as it should be. Mausoleum Mage, why aren't they doing that for Mausoleum Mage as well? It's clearly written that they do block debuffs first. But anyway, she also got a buff to her defense aura, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's now 34% across the board instead of being just for dungeons, so that's kind of nice. Tyrant Elixir, kind of great for clan boss as well. Personally, I mean, it'd be nice, but like obviously it wouldn't be the biggest game changer. For me, would be the Vizier Ovilus. If there's one legendary that I would love to have in this list, it's this guy right here. Excellent for the clan boss. Although my Dark Elves Faction Wars is doing pretty good, I don't need this guy right now, if you know what I mean, because it would just use resources that I would otherwise use on other champions to progress faction wars overall. Lua, great nuker, really solid. Dark Elves, again, I don't need more Dark Elves. I have her anyway. Big Un, Ogren Tribes, that would be amazing. He hits really, really hard. I would love to have the guy, but I don't think I actually need him to finish Faction Wars. So we'll see. Lightsworn, I got him decreased attack on the A2 or A3, I forget. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, okay? It's not perfect, but if you have this guy combined with a Vizier Ovilus, or heck, just Vizier Ovilus by himself, because I think he has decreased attack as well. Yeah, he does. So like, if anything, I used Lightsworn for a while before I got a good decreased attack in one champion, so you might be tempted to roll for this guy. Plus, he's defense and void, triple hit A1, hits really hard, you'd be surprised, deals a ton of damage against the clan boss. Allure, excellent for like Fire Knight, but like she can also be used in pretty much all the other dungeons as well. Also, Faction Wars, I have her, I am using her, pretty solid. Then we have Talia from Sacred Order. I'm not using one, mainly a nuker. And then we have Defiled Sinner, also somewhat of a nuker, but very conditional. For his skills to actually do what it's saying right here, like certain things have to be met, and so I'm not a big fan of that, sort of like having to kill a champion for him to do an AoE enemy max HP skill. So still, maybe. Okay, so let me know what you're thinking about these champions. Are you guys going to summon? Are you going to go all out? I think that's the big question. Are you going to go all out for some of these champions, or wait for most likely the 2-chance event, which is going to be next week? Okay, and that brings me to the Fusion calendar and my tips. So here we have Krila Witch Arm, and I don't know if you guys remember this, I presented this. It's sort of like the calendar of the 14 days we had to complete this Fragment Fusion, okay? In green here you have the events, in blue here you have the tournaments. And so what this is trying to do is sort of give you guys different scenarios of how you can go about collecting these fragments to reach your 100. Right, in like one case here, we'd be focusing on the Summon Rush, compared to the other one here, we might actually be focusing on, let's say, the Champion Chase tournament. So what I've done is I've used these sort of like examples, or this this template that we have for Krila, and I've made one for the new Ogryn champion. Okay, so this is not 100% accurate. Okay, I just want to make that clear. This is sort of like my prediction for now. Okay, so one of the tips I'll tell you guys right now will be to plan your strategy. Okay, use this as reference. Heck, come back tomorrow when I post my video with the actual numbers of what we're going to have. Like, we're still not going to have all the numbers, because we're not going to know until the actual event or tournament goes live. But still, this can be a great starting point for you to pick a strategy. Okay, so again, plan. Okay, that's one of my major tips for today. The other one would be to stock up your resources. You can still stock up resources for this, right? Even though the champions, or we don't use champions or rares or whatever, you can still start accumulating some resources ready to go for this event. We just had 500 energy. Don't go crazy and use it today unless you're pushing to finish first in this dragon tournament. Maybe hold off on this, right? Hold off until tomorrow or the day after, when you know which tournament is live, or which event or champion training events you want to focus this energy on. Look at all this double XP I've been accumulating. This is from like events that I've completed. I think I might have one sitting here. No, okay, I don't anymore. But like when you complete an event and like you don't grab a reward, it's gonna go on a timer for 24 hours for you to grab your reward before it fully ends. When it fully ends though, it's going to your inbox, okay? And in your inbox, it's then good for 6 days, like this right here. This is what they, yeah, so this is a perfect example. I just had 2 back to back, and then I have even more here from the previous events. So if anything, I have all this extra double XP ready to go for, let's say, the next champion training event or champion training tournament, you know what I mean? So guys, stock up your resources. Here are some other great ways to stock up your resources. Let's say you are about to have your weekly quest resets, which I'm about to. I'm going to have a little bit more energy saved up in here. What about your monthly quest? That's about to reset as well. It's definitely going to reset during this new Fragment Collector, right? So I'm going to have even more energy saved up in there. Heck, if you have also the Bazaar, hopefully you haven't used that already, but like in there, if you have your weekly timer that's about to be done or is done, you have 300 energy sitting here as well. Okay, so guys, there are still ways you can prepare with your resources for this. Okay, so that was we'll say tip number 2. Then tip number 3 is pretty straightforward. Let me go back to the calendar here, is to maximize your energy. What do I mean by that? Is that, let's say we are going to have a Dungeon Divers event, which is most likely. It is going to last a certain amount of days. Let's say it's going to last about, I don't know, 6 days, right? Let's say we also have a tournament that is going to start a day before. Let's take this Ice Golem tournament, for example, here. On the day 1, if there's no Dungeon Divers event active, don't go crazy on that tournament. Wait Okay, wait for the done next day Dungeon Divers event to go live, and then go crazy trying to complete that Ice Golem tournament. Okay, so that extra 500 energy, instead of grabbing it on day 1, grab it on day 2, because you'll be working towards that tournament, but also the Dungeon Divers event. Okay, that also applies to like the Champion Training event, right? Don't forget, you are doing Dungeon Divers as you are doing Champion Training. So the first 2 days, you might want to hold off on going crazy on the Dungeon Divers event by going crazy on these tournaments. However, you will have to split up your energy between the tournaments and the events. So that's the next tip for you guys. You got to be careful about this. There are a lot of things overlapping. So if you decided, let's say, I'm going to skip the Ice Golem tournament. Why? Because it's only 5 fragments. And for, let's say, whatever reason, in one of the scenarios, you're able to make do without that extra 5 fragments. So this frees up an entire slot where instead you can focus on, let's say, Champion Training event, okay, during this time, which is also going to do your Dungeon Divers event, okay? So guys, maximizing your energy and picking the events and tournaments that are overlapping is also very important. And it comes back to my first point. Plan your strategy. Just pay attention to these little things. It'll make a big difference in the long run. Next, easy points first. Always go for the easy points first, like a Summon Rush, for example, 330 points. That's a couple Ancient Shards and a lot of Mystery Shards. Clearly doable. You should probably factor in those 5 points in almost every scenario. I'll get to this, why I haven't put those points in there in a second, but still, Artifact Enhancement events, I think I have 2 examples for you guys here. We have the first one, which they released. We had 5 fragments at 1,000 points, okay? But then the second one had the same 5 fragments at 1,000 points, but the other 10 were at 3,000 points, okay? So maybe you're just going to want to do the both Artifact Enhancement event, but up to the 5 fragments only. That's a total of 2,000 points instead, right? If you want to get the extra 10, well, it's going to need a lot more silver. Do you have enough silver saved up? Okay, so that's sort of what I'm saying here. One scenario, I'm going to say you're only going for like one of them for 5 fragments, you know what I mean? Dungeon Divers event, most likely you're going to have to do it. It is a very long time. It's probably going to be around 3,000 points. Should be doable over the period of time that it's going to be live, right? Champion Training event. So this one is, I think, one of the ones you'll have to pick your battle. Are you going to go for Champion Training event or maybe Champion Training tournament? And here's a great example again. Champion Training event was 5 fragments at the first 1,800 points, and then another 5 at 5,200 points. But for Champion Training Tournament, you could have gotten 10 fragments at 4,700 points. Therefore, it was cheaper to do the Champion Training Tournament. I think I have examples right here for you guys. Okay, so this is the Champion Training Tournament, right? 4,000 points, 10 fragments, and then we have this one right here. I decided on the Krila to skip the Champion Training Tournament, but I didn't know what to expect for the Champion Training event. When it went live, I was like, man, it would have been cheaper to just do the Champion Training tournament instead, okay? So again, pay attention to that, okay? Because it might be more beneficial for you to focus on something different than what you're going to plan out. Also, like the Champion Training Tournament was earlier, so if you went all out on the Summon Rush, chances are you have a lot of food ready to go, and that overlaps with a Champion Training Tournament. Therefore, it might be better for you to push in the beginning, and maybe you decided that you were going to skip the Fire Knight tournament. Therefore, you're not getting this 5 fragments right here, but at least you're going all out on the other 2, and you're able to get all these points right here, and maybe you've went all the way up to here to get 30 fragments, okay? So I think you sort of understand what I'm trying to say here. It is all about planning. You can still, like I said, hoard your resources for this to be a little bit easier. The next one is, let's say you decide to do the Summon Rush to some extent, but you don't go crazy all out. Then the Champion Chase Tournament, you can actually prepare fusions ahead, or grabbing rewards during the time that this is live is going to net you some points as well. So you might look at this and say, there's no way I'm going to push for first place to get an extra 30 fragments, because that did happen on the Krila, okay? So this one is very unlikely. Maybe some of you guys would be able to pull it off, but at the same time, maybe not. Instead, what you can do is, let's say you have your Arbiter ready to go, or you're about to get your Sile of the Drakes for whatever reason. That is a massive amount of points for a Champion Chase tournament. So try to hold off on grabbing that champion when it's ready to go. What some other players have suggested doing as well is that you prepare some of these fusions ahead of time. Maybe you have a couple extra Broadma fusions you could do, right? Which is pretty easy. Even this one right here, Relic Keeper, but even easier for the Broadma. So if you have a lot of these champions saved up, because we're not using them anymore for the fusion events, well then go ahead and fuse this guy. That's like 250 points, if I'm not mistaken, for a champion chase tournament. Easy points, okay? Little things you can do ahead of time. So back to my calendar right here, and I guess overall that's basically it, okay guys? And finally, for the scenarios, here's sort of what I'm proposing. Scenario number 1 is that, let's say you go all out on the Summon Rush. Although, you might not be tempted to do this time if the Summon Rush is the first thing we get, because it's during this 10 chance event. I'm not a fan of 10 chance event. I want the 2 chance event, okay? Like the 2 chance Void, or 2 chance Sacred, or 2 chance Ancient. Therefore, I might push a little bit more on this time, okay? So a more balanced approach would be scenario B, where you're doing a little bit of the Summon Rush, but then you're doing a little bit of the champion chase. Scenario A is like you're going all out in the Summon Rush and you're not really focusing on the champion chase tournament. And then scenario C is you're not touching this Summon Rush for this 10 chance event, and instead you're going for first place on this champion chase tournament. Highly unlikely, but still, okay? Overall, the arena onslaughts should also pretty much all be doable. The 4 sort of like dungeon events should pretty much all be doable as well. 1,500 points over the course of like 3-4 days is doable with just the free energy you get, okay? Assuming you're doing level 20 or level 17 and up, I guess. And then the other ones are pretty straightforward, okay? So guys, that's it. I think it was a lot of information, I'm sorry, but like a couple tips, 5-6 major tips for you guys to actually get this done for as cheap as possible. And obviously, if you have a lot of gems saved up, this is going to help out, right? This is your fall back to plan. If you don't have enough energy on a certain day, then you're going to use some gems. Expect to use some. It's all right. I've covered them before, but some of my fusion or previous fusions had cost close to about 1,500 gems. The recent ones, I literally just don't spend gems. I have enough sort of like things coming in as a free-to-play player to get this done. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to come back tomorrow to have the updated calendar. And I'm also going to stream on Twitch tomorrow night, where we're going to do the gem giveaways and probably an Amazon gift card giveaway. Okay, so thank you. Let me know what you think. Catch you guys later.